You're now tuned in to another episode of the LABL podcast. Oh, man. Check. Y'all tuned in to another episode of the LABL podcast. I'm your host, Name Tag. Make sure y'all subscribe, rate, and review. We're on the platforms now, the iTunes, which is, if you have the iPhone or the iPad, it's the Apple Podcast app. Check us out on SoundCloud. Listen, if y'all, Stitcher. I don't want to forget that, Stitcher and Mixcloud. Those like the main platforms. It's on a few different others, but those right now to me are the main platforms that people are listening to the podcast on. With that being said, if you are listening to the podcast and you rock with the podcast, you support it, leave a comment, repost, share it. Let us know that you are listening, that you are engaged, because anybody could easily press that play button on SoundCloud and it counts as a listen. You know what I mean? But to engage and let us know you out there, that helps a lot. You know what I mean? So, we got merch. Go to the website, leadingbylegendary.net. Make sure you order a t-shirt. We got the colors now in red, black, I want to say gray. I don't think we did navy blue as of yet. And then we got some of the hats up now. So just go by, order some merch, leadingbylegendary.net. We're going to jump right into this episode. This is episode 21. Back with it with DJ DDT. What's going on, man? It's been a minute.
Word.
That was so old school.
Hey,
so you might as well.
You know, if everybody gonna if everybody gonna force the label on me, I might as well.
Who forcing this label on you?
You just said you old.
I just said that was so old school.
Exactly.
You heard that in a completely different way. I said that was so old school.
That was old.
And somehow you heard me say you was old.
Well, I'm owning it, then.
Own it, man. You might as well did that.
No, I ain't that old.
It's on the funny thing about that on the Calvin Harris album, my man's Takeoff from the Migos. I know I wasn't hearing things. He does that on the song. Literally,
hey,
he did it. I was like,
it's hip
what
hop.
He's like, I was like, nobody else heard this. We ain't talking about this.
It's hip hop.
Yep. What's been going on, man? It's been a minute though. What you been up to, man? How you been active out here?
Man, I'm still trying to get off crack. All these years, I'm still trying to get off
Niggas is still doing crack, and
I don't know about everybody else. I'm
just
talking
you,
about me.
per se.
Trying to get off crack.
Is it a tough habit to kick?
It's tough. It's very
Probably
difficult.
because it's crack. They say crack better than sex.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
You on it? So
right.
One or the other. So. One or the other. Either either you're not having sex or you're not on crack. So
right.
That's what they say. Like I don't want to know. I don't want to know what being on crack is like. They have you selling your family furniture, and that's too much.
Yeah, you selling your family.
You might mess around and sell your family. Real shit. I was there's this it's this guy named John. I don't want to butcher his last name. He was a musician. I want to say an indie musician that ended up being signed to Interscope, I believe. John Ojaka. I don't want to butcher that last name. I want to say it's Ojaka. I'm subscribed to this email list that he has, and he basically sends out these emails consistently, just on like he believes in this direct to fan model. I'm prepared today too. I got topics that I want to cover. I got them written down because I don't like just winging it. I just want to cover everything I can within one episode. But anyway, he covers basically like the direct to fan model of selling music. Like he still believes that, as long as you have a database as far as your fans per se email, obviously you can still sell your music to that core fan base. Because of course, let's say, God forbid this happened, all the platforms shut down like iTunes or SoundCloud. What was going to happen with that? The rumor that SoundCloud was going to fold or whatever. Bandcamp, let's say if that just folded and you had to rely on a private platform to have your music directly, which you can do. Obviously, you got websites that can do it like Bandzoogle and just other spots where you can upload your music and sell it where it's directly from your website. But he's talking about streaming, and it got me to thinking, like streaming, obviously that's the wave of how most of us consume our music now. And I don't want to say consume because in most cases we're not buying it when we're streaming it. So I would say how we receive music. But I feel like now artists got to see past that hype. Because to me, if you look at it, streaming is like what most cats are going posting on social media. Hey, streaming on Spotify, streaming here on Apple Music. I'm guilty of it. I do it. And I'm not saying don't do it, but don't get so caught up in that to where it's like, hey, cats is just only streaming music anyway. Now, the problem with that is you're probably right. And he made a point saying that the reality is no one is going to buy your music if it's already in their pocket. It's in the palm. It's in their phone. It's in their phone. It's in their tablet. It's in the palm of their hand. So he broke down. It's on his website. I don't want to take all the credit for what's going on, but it's on his website. If you go to musicmarketingmanifesto.com, it's the last post I want to say from July 17th where he covers a lot of this, but I just kind of got like bits and pieces of it that I jotted down to talk about on today's episode. And he basically talked about the major record labels and that, they got shareholders that they got to appeal to. And in order for them to do that, they got to go where the market is. And feel free to chime in wherever, that you have that expertise on this topic.
I'm just waiting for you to take a breath so I can get in there.
I'm in the zone. I'm in the zone. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you cook because no bad. I kind of get winded.
No, you good. You good.
But he was saying like the major record labels, they got shareholders that they got to appeal to, and in order for them to do that, they got to go where the market is and try to dominate that market. So they can't ignore streaming. So it's almost like we may feel like we gotta tell people, hey, stream my music here, and we really don't. That's some major record label shit. Indie artists, we don't per se have to do that. But anyway, you jump in.
All of that is very factual. The whole it's crazy because those are things that I've been trying to get people away from for years. But the more I try to get people away from it, the more people would go into it. The whole streaming thing, the whole I call conforming, where it's like, well, everybody else doing it, so this is what I'm gonna do too.
Right.
And I'm always one of them people that's against what everybody else is doing. And I shouldn't say, and I don't mean like against where I'm just 100% going against the grain, but I'm always looking at things differently or looking at a different angle or different way in for everything.
Right.
And streaming was not the end all be all to me, but everybody else was doing it. And when I give people alternatives, nobody would even care to even ponder those things. But I totally agree with all of it. And people invest and have invested too much into these streaming companies.
Right.
The more you look at it, the more you realize those companies are making off like bandits, where everybody else are, I can't even say that people are getting peanuts. You're basically getting peanut shells.
Cause like, remember I think it was the episode I titled it "Die Downloads Die." We kind of touched on this just a little bit, but I even went to explain like how I was looking at one of my statements. This was off an instrumental version of the Tag Alexander EP, and it was like for one of the months, I want to say like January, I think, of this year. And I was looking at, let's say if you go with a company and it's you not paying to have it uploaded to these sites or whatever, so you're probably getting what on top of like 80% unless you pay to have it uploaded. So that's like 80% to you as the artist, 20% to the company. And just seeing the difference with the 20% that went to the digital distribution company, it was pennies. And then that means it was obviously you getting 80%, so it's still pennies to you. It's like, how is this even broken down like to where it's just like 0.002 whatever? It's like, how does that even happen this way? And they're still listening to this track. How did it go from if somebody downloads your music, on average, depending on how you got this distributed, you're probably getting like maybe 85 cents or so to $1, to now it's like you said, peanuts. Like, I don't even understand how that's broken down. That trips me out.
Yeah, it's not broken down because it's not regulated by anybody. And all of these companies got off, like I said, they made off like bandits because of it not being regulated. And Man, I had another point. What the hell was I about to say?
You said you was old, so
Hey man,
with
look,
being old,
ain't got nothing to do with being old.
comes bad memory.
But basically, well, the point that I was trying to remember was guess who doesn't care about none of this?
Who don't?
16-year-old Dante that you see walking down the street playing something off of, yeah.
Dante don't.
He don't give a damn about none of this. All he know is that new joint that he like is on Spotify or it's on iTunes or it's on YouTube.
Yeah,
where he can hear it for free.
basically. And he might be paying for a subscription service, but still, like, you still getting peanuts. Like,
I doubt if he's even paying.
and I think I got it somewhere in my notes too, about that. It was like basically something about the whole, you get more, the artist gets more if they actually stream your whole album. So if they stream the entire album, it's like more that the artist gets paid. I don't know exactly the details on it, but that's what I think I read that it was like the more, if they stream the whole album or a whole project, that's more to that artist.
It's not a huge percentage.
It's nothing really huge. And then that goes into like Tidal, man. Everybody, Tidal is for the people. Not a diss to Tidal. Obviously it's a great subscription service.
Tidal is just like everybody else.
Yeah, it's like it's no different. It's like maybe just a pinch more. Like you just get a few more peanuts than as opposed to Spotify. And I think SoundCloud and YouTube, I think they even pay out even less. It's like, like you said, they're getting away with like bandits with it, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's going to continue. It's going to continue as long as nobody cares about quality, as long as nobody cares about support, and as long as we keep giving it to them for free. The minute every single artist stop, and that's what it's going to take. It's going to take everybody's favorite artist to not let the record labels.
That's not going to happen.
And it's never going to happen.
That's not going to happen because you got too many artists like you Big Crits and whatnot. I think he's off Def Jam now, but too many artists that like to sample. And it's like, oh, well, the sample clearances, they can't clear the sample. So it's like, well, damn, let me put this mixtape out. Which is cool here and there, but damn, a whole project, you know what I'm saying? Because now it's like they got that project and, oh, I'm good. I got his mixtape for free or whatever.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're devaluing the music.
Yeah.
So,
that's crazy. I've been using that word since probably 2006.
And I agree with it now. It's like being an artist more than just seeing these statements and everything. It's like, yo, man, we don't get nothing off streaming. And then that goes into my next point. In order, it states that on the website too, in this art in the music blog. In order for streaming to be lucrative, you need to have tens, even hundreds of millions of streams. Hundreds of millions of streams.
Right.
So like, if you this artist, you just posting on social media or wherever, even if you got a PR working for you, whatever, you're an indie artist and hey, everybody go stream my music here. Hey, look, it ain't no type of income like that you're generating if it ain't hundreds of millions of streams.
I can tell you right now how an artist can get 100% of whatever money, streaming, downloading, or physical.
What's that?
Do everything yourself.
Yeah.
If you made your own music, put it on your website. Don't put it on. Don't get it distributed digitally. You put it on your own website because there are APIs and little things you can have to where you can build your own website, where you can put your own music on your website, have your own server somewhere, stream your own music, have your own music files for download, and you go and get your own stuff pressed on vinyl. You go and get your own stuff pressed on CD.
I would like to have an episode discussing that as far as like the APIs that you're speaking of, because that's what I wanted to know too. Because that was my thing. I'm like, I get it. It's okay to have it on these streaming platforms because that's what the majority is getting their music. That's fine. But and I'm gonna touch on that too. I don't want to get beside my point in regards to it. But and I gotta remember to get back to that. I got it in here. They brought up Adele's album. Her last year? She dropped the 25 joint. Mm-hmm. And it was like, since it dropped last year on the streaming platforms, because remember, she originally put it out to where you couldn't stream it. You had to buy it.
Right, for like a week or a month.
And they cracked numbers with it. So when they put it on the streaming services, since then, she's got over like 1.5 billion streams, I think, since it's been released on the streaming platforms. So like that's crazy. That's incredible. That still go to show you she still got fans that supporting, but she got way more. It had basically had took almost because the amount of streams that she got right now, or what she sold, it was like it would have took like 10 years just to kind of equal that in streaming or something like that. Because it's like you're not seeing nothing off of it. And then remember the whole story? I don't know if it was like proven fact in regards to this, but when they was talking about the Pharrell joint, the Happy single or whatever, and it had this many millions of streams, but it was on like $5,000 or somewhere around that amount that he saw. I'm like, damn, is that true? Like,
Yeah, it's true. It was like 3 million or a little over 3 million streams or something like that. He only got $5,000. I believe it.
man, that sucks.
I'm sure of it because I looked at numbers when our music streamed. And, you know, when I get stuff back from ASCAP, all of those numbers show up. It shows how many times it was played.
It tell you, it's like,
and what you got off of it.
It can show you like, let's say 5 streams. You damn sure ain't seeing $5. Nowhere near it.
It was like 0.000223.
Now flip that, equate that to if it's a download, right? You more so, like I say, if you're getting 100% off of it, depending on who you distribute it through, or whether you paying or not to have, like I say, if it's CD Baby or something, like, yeah, you're getting 100% or 90 to 100% or something like that with TuneCore. I forget, I don't deal with TuneCore any longer, but with that, let's say if it's 5 downloads, right? That's either $5 or close to it.
Right.
Now it streams.
Yeah.
5 streams is like, no, you ain't nowhere near a dollar.
You're not even making 2 cents.
They cheating. These niggas is cheating. That is crazy. So
it's not cheating when you can't get caught.
And it's like, how do people not see this? That's the same. It's a whole thing
because
as far.
It goes back to it being.
It's
regulated.
the new Napster.
Yeah.
It's the new Napster. When Napster first hit, and remember in the
they were able to legalize, just like radio found ways to legalize payola. They found ways to legalize Napster.
In the Defiant One's documentary, and it was talking about that when everybody was selling crazy, and then they was telling Dr. Dre was like, well, let me see, and it was pulling it up on Napster, just showing like, hey, they can get your stuff right here for free. It's almost like that. It's just somehow this is legal.
Right.
This is literally legal. Like you can. I remember when Play to Win, when it first got placed in ESPN or whatever, and I saw the streams for it. I'm like, yeah, a lot more people streamed it, but it wasn't nothing. I got more money off of the licensing fee that they paid me in the publishing check,
as opposed to
the streaming. It's like, yeah, it got a lot of streams, but it was like I still got paid more off the advanced check. I'm like, this is crazy, and this is cheating, and I'm not even getting it's not even hands in there as far as I'm indie, I'm straight out flat out independent, so it's not a label that's. You got the label, then you got the whatever, however this works in the major record industry.
So guess where all that money going to? Going straight to them streaming companies.
Yeah.
Straight to Apple Music, going straight to Spotify, straight to Google Play, straight to Amazon Music. That's where it's going.
Because we talked about that when you was like, if it's a if the person is subscribed and it's a paid subscription, then that in itself, it goes to like the music company or whatever, like the labels or something like that, and then it's distributed to the artist. But if it's like not a paid subscription, then those fees, that's what's going to like the ads and whatever or something like that. I forget what you said or how it was broken down, but
basically, like when you pay to subscribe to a streaming service, that money goes to the streaming company. The streaming company then hold all of that, and then they look at whatever you are streaming. They'll pay out their little 0.002% for every song.
That ain't shit, man. That's crazy.
For every song you stream. As far as the advertisement, when you don't pay for a subscription, every time you start playing streaming songs, you're gonna get a little commercial with it. Those people who commercials are being run, those companies pay the streaming company for those ads being run. Then the streaming company keeps their money, and then whatever songs are streamed around those, they pay out the little 0.002%.
So whenever you on Spotify and you on a non-paid subscription, whenever that come up and it say want to break from the ads and it say watch this video, watch that video, because other than that you're gonna keep getting them commercials. Trust me, I know I do this all the time. You're gonna keep getting them commercials like between every 2 songs or so.
Yeah.
So just watch the video so you can get 30 minutes of uninterrupted music. That's what I do.
Which is still whack because the
Still
artist
like
that you're
either
listening to ain't making no money.
Yeah, and it's like I'm like, damn, but it's just buy music, man. Like,
Yeah.
but then it's like now it's like okay, you buy it, just get you a folder or something, a Dropbox folder, and you know it'd be dope too.
This
Just
is what everybody, in my opinion, what everybody should do. Everybody should buy music, whether they download it or buy a CD.
yeah,
Save it in their computer at home, upload it to Google Music, and then you can play it without worrying about commercials or anything. Nobody, is bothering you, with commercials every.
and even though that sounds is simple. To us, it's simple. That's 3 simple steps.
Yeah.
A lot of people ain't gonna do that because
I
it's
know they're not, 'cause
so
it's not,
convenient. It's right
it's
here.
not as convenient.
You can go to your
yeah.
phone, swipe SoundCloud, Spotify,
Yeah.
whatever, and just listen to this. It's like it's so
But
convenient.
if it's
now.
really on your heart to do it, then that's what I would do if I were you.
It's like
But
you almost now, and like we was talking about this earlier, like you say, just put the music on their websites or whatever, because that's the solution. That's to close this topic. My solution to that, as it said, it was saying is like basically withhold your album from the streaming platforms initially, not period, not flat out, because obviously we know that's where everybody going. But make a single or 2 available on like the streaming platforms, but have the album available on the platforms for music purchase only.
right.
Don't right away, and this is I'm talking to all artists because we jump right out the gate soon some music is available. It's like it's everywhere. It's on all these streaming. I'm guilty of it. What I'm saying is because I see so many independent artists do it, and it's like we getting jerked. I don't care. Like if okay, they saying well, it's another way to get money now because do shows, perform, do merch. All right, how many people coming to them shows? How much merch are you selling? You know what I'm saying? Are you getting your music? Or how many placements are you getting? Like it's other avenues, but don't just knock away the fact that music ain't selling, and it's more than likely a way that you could sell this music. It's just you got to provide some sort of initiative for them to really or incentive apply that initiative. Excuse me, and create some sort of incentive for people to buy the music, which circles back, like I say, have a single or 2 available on the streaming platforms. That's fine.
Right.
Because it's almost like it's free. To tell you, yeah, you're getting peanuts, but it's better than a free download because that's another thing. Nobody really download music like that. Nobody's really going to these, nobody's really in a rush to just be like, oh, I'm going to download this person's music for free like it was at one point in the early part of the 2000s.
Now with that, if I was the average listener, I would okay, I'll say this to y'all. If y'all pay attention, they're basically making sure you don't own shit.
Yeah.
You don't own music anymore. Nothing is yours. You can't just walk away from it. If you decide to not stream music from a certain place, you won't have that music anymore. So if I was the average consumer, I would buy what I want and keep it, like I said, on a hard drive.
Yeah,
or
I
keep
was gonna
the CD.
say, with a lot of the platforms, you are able to download. Like if you got the paid subscription, you can download the music offline. I think they say I hear a lot of crazy stories with Apple Music to where they're like, oh,
You know what those are? Those are temporary downloads.
That's what I was gonna say.
So once
like,
you
with
go
Apple
back and
Music,
listen to it, it won't be there anymore.
and that's what I was saying, like with Apple, because a lot of people say that, like, yo, I downloaded this and it's not in my iTunes folder no more. I pay for Apple Music. I pay this $9.99 a month.
Yeah.
I downloaded this album and it ain't in my folder no more. I haven't heard this with Spotify. I haven't heard it with Tidal, so I don't know how true that is. But if you do that, then put it in another folder somewhere. Get it, and like I say, they got Dropbox, Google Drive. You don't pay for it now. Put it in a folder. Keep that music.
If you can.
So,
because what I'm saying is, those are temporary files when you download it.
Yeah.
So that you can listen to it offline, and then it disappears out of your stuff. Whether you
and that's crazy.
subscribing or not, it still disappears after you listen to it. So I don't, that might not be there. So and I'm only speculating because I'm not paying for it right now.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can, and the reason I say that is because because I have subscribed to Google Music, I have subscribed to Spotify, I have subscribed to Tidal.
Mm-hmm.
I was never able to download anything and keep it off any of those platforms.
So it goes back to what you were saying.
Yeah, it's like a temporary file.
They basically
for when you offline,
making it to where you can't own music anymore.
Yeah.
So that sucks. That's
So the
kind of
only way
crazy.
you can really own it is if you download it and save it onto a hard drive or
Yep.
your computer, or if you go and buy the CD, or if you go and buy vinyl if you own that side.
And shout out to the people that still actually, buy the physical music. Like I see a lot. We know a lot of people that buy the vinyl. They still buy the CDs.
Yeah,
So,
shout out to Kirby. She still
yeah.
buy everything on vinyl.
I was just about to say her, P Dog, a lot of them cats. They still Kirby buy whatever on vinyl. So,
Or should we be saying Kelvis Freshly as she says?
man, whatever. Kirby, Kelvis Freshly, K Fresh, all them
Yeah.
names. Shout out to her. What else? But yeah, that closed that. Long story short, even though it's been a long story, just
Right, long story long.
put a couple singles out there on the platforms. People are gonna see what album it's on or whatever project that you putting out. Even if you putting out a mixtape or whatever, and you decide to sell it, same thing. Or if you putting out that mixtape for free or whatever, as long as you got something
Stop
out
doing
there,
shit for free.
that. But I'm saying if you're trying, and I guess I'm saying it the other way around. If you're gonna have something out there, you might as well put it on the platform and says, hey, here, download this. And if you download this, if you download my album for free, you can get the nod. Just fuck all that. Just put the music out there on the platforms, whatever, but a couple singles. And then when the album come out, now your album is here where they can buy it temporarily. So the singles is out there, but the album is out where they can buy it wherever, iTunes or whatever, Amazon, Bandcamp, or even just, even though the interface with Bandcamp is so, put it on Bandcamp where they can buy it, or like you said, have it to where it's uploaded to your website directly where they get it from you.
Right.
Or hell, this might even be crazy. Have it on, just like you say, on WeTransfer or something temporarily, or Dropbox, and you use a Cash App. you pay me,
Exactly.
I'll send you the link to download it.
Use your Dropbox, use your Google Drive. Everybody got Google Drive.
Yep.
Use all of that. Keep your music there. Use the Cash App. Use the PayPal app and sell your music.
You pay me. We got the singles out streaming. Pay me, and what I'll do is I'll add your email address to this Dropbox folder to where you can download the music.
Right.
Once you download it, I'll remove you. But I don't figure something out. People can still buy music, man. Period. Flat out. You just gotta create ways to do it. Jay-Z out here putting music on your phones in order just to sell music and count it as sales now. And he's charting it, and he killing the charts right now.
Right.
One thing I wanted to talk about, which is crazy, because I don't know what it is when artists create like other brands outside of the music, right? And we always see the same thing pretty much. We see clothing lines and liquor companies, or they're part of this liquor brand or whatever. What could some other brands be that artists can invest in as opposed to clothing lines and liquor companies?
There's tons of brands. There's tons of things to get into. I mean, hell, the one of the richest hip hop artists ever just sold his headphone company. A headphone company.
Yep, that was smart as hell.
So, some headphones that he started in partnership with Monster.
Yep.
I don't even know if people realized that back then, but that was the first thing I saw. Beats by Dr. Dre with a little Monster logo on the bottom of it. So, there's no telling, it can go into anything else that you like.
I used to think, because Lil Wayne had the most I'm the shit and some reference to toilet paper lines. And I was like, the thought of it was corny when I thought about it. I was like, but still, what if he created his own, or not necessarily created? I'm not saying Lil Wayne tissue, but what if he really invested heavily into some type, and it sounds corny, but this is just an idea, just an example. What if he invested into the brand of tissue that he buys the most, or somebody bought, like,
and then they come out with a line of Lil Wayne tissues. Ain't nothing corny
like,
about
or
that.
just he endorses it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he endorsed like the whole phone. He was doing the Samsung thing, or whatever. But something that he heavily endorses, I like. We need to see more of that. Like, we see some of the same stuff all the time with rappers that invest.
And
like,
it's changing. With of course we see.
We got Rick Ross, like the Wingstop, buy, invest in that.
But that's him buying. That's his company buying another company or a franchise of a company. But even when it comes to the artist branding side, you got What's his name with the red hair? With the red dreadlocks.
Oh, Lil Yachty.
Lil Yachty on the Target commercials, doing endorsements.
I think he got an endorsement with Nautica too.
Yeah.
But
and
even
I just saw what's his name from the West Coast that said the '90s wasn't shit. What's his name?
who said that?
He said the '90s wasn't as dope as everybody said it was. What's his name? I can't think of his name.
That was
Vince Staples.
Yeah,
I just saw him on a Sprite commercial.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're
More
talking about.
endorsements.
Yeah.
So,
But even inside of endorsements too, like just creating these brands too.
Yeah.
But
that's helping that's helping that rapper's brand.
It could be done. We need to see more of it. Like,
Right.
the shoes is always the clothing line, shoe line, liquor line.
I mean,
it's
and it's something that happened back in the day. I still remember the MC Shan versus KRS-One Sprite commercial. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It happened back in the day, and it could still continue to happen. Well, I guess it is continuing to happen now.
we need to see more.
We need to see more of it.
I keep seeing T-shirt. I mean, not this T-shirt line, but clothing lines, shoe lines, liquor companies.
Right.
Like, it's way more other things that could be invested in. Even when rappers was having their own video games, that was dope. Remember when Wu-Tang?
Yeah.
That was dope as
Wu-Tang
hell.
and,
They had the comic
Def
books.
Jam. What was it?
The Def. Shit.
I never had a video game either. Def Jam something.
I forget what it was called.
But it was like a Street Fighter.
Yep, that shit was fly. Yeah, like I said, the Wu-Tang, they had the comic books and everything.
Yeah.
That was dope as hell. We need more of that, period. We got some people doing it, but like I said, it's like, it got to branch outside of just the basic.
So each artist basically needs to think on branding themselves in other ways instead of just following what everybody else did. If that was the case, if everybody keeps following or had kept following each other all these years, the mixtape market wouldn't have started, or it wouldn't have went the direction it went if 50 Cent had to follow people before him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then
his whole thing was, like he said, I felt, he sided with the bootleggers. I was giving my shit to the bootleggers from the cellar or whatever, and then he got hot in the streets off of that.
Right. Then, even though we were just talking about fashion, if Kanye West hadn't have gone his own way.
And poked holes in his shirts.
Right. We wouldn't have the poke hole shirt. We wouldn't have the Yeezys. We wouldn't have any of that. So you gotta think and find your own way. I was saying that when 50 did the mixtape game, because everybody thought that was the way to get on.
Yep.
And the more they said it, the more I'm like, no, you got to find your own.
It was
path.
really, but I was about to say, by the time it caught wind, and because we was in high school
working.
when that popped, by the time that caught wind, it worked for a little bit. It worked for a minute.
It worked too well, so now everybody wants everything free.
Yeah, I was about to say it started working so good to the point where it was like, I remember
this is how well it worked. When Lil Wayne started putting out mixtape after mixtape, and then he put out his album. Yeah, people bought that album, but more people had the mixtape.
Yeah.
And when I would go to DJ a party, everybody be asking me for records off the mixtape.
This is around like Carter 3?
Carter 2 and 3.
Yeah.
And everybody would ask me for songs off the mixtapes and never ask me for songs off the album.
Because that's what it was, too. A lot of people, and this ain't even to discredit Lil Wayne, but a lot of people probably saw that success of Carter 3 because he was still hot with the mixtapes then. They're like, oh, shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, his mixtape did platinum, so maybe I can do this, and then I'm on. Like you said, it was working too well. Everybody felt like they can do it. It really got oversaturated. It's crazy. Like the mixtape market, a lot of people say it ain't dead. Prove me wrong, because I don't know. But
It's overdone. But now,
Do you feel like, and that kind of ties into what I was gonna ask next, do you feel like we doing good? I got some topics. Do you feel like releasing consistent projects within a year, we call them projects, so we don't want to, you can't label shit nowadays. Releasing consistent projects, do you feel like that equates to longevity? And I'm talking about like for somebody that does it within a year, like, oh, I just dropped one project, oh, I got another one, oh, here go another one. Like, is that?
No.
And that ain't a diss to nobody that's doing it, because if the project is dope, then it's dope. Obviously, you're gonna get credit where credit is due, but doing it consistently.
That's what I was about to say. No, it doesn't. It doesn't equate longevity. It doesn't equate success, because if you're putting out a bunch of whack stuff, then no, nobody's gonna want to hear you. And then if you're putting out a bunch of records that bang for a hot minute, no, nobody's gonna want to hear you. There's no longevity and none of that.
I think
a lot of people put out what I call microwave
Yeah,
music. It'll last for a month, and after that, nobody wants to hear it.
I think
You
it's
got to put out music that people are gonna want to hear for, like if you playing it a year and a half from now, and everybody's still jumping up for it. That's the kind of music you want.
right. I think it even pans out to the point where it's getting to the point where music is so consistent that when certain artists drop, it's like, oh he dropped again. Yeah, that's dope. That's what's up. As opposed to I was waiting on this or I anticipate this. Like it could be very dope, but it's like less people are anticipating it because they already expect you to drop. I gotta watch that about myself sometimes because I be like, dang, I ain't dropped in like 6 months or dropped in 4 months or something like I need to, and it's like no, because then at some point I feel like people are just gonna be like, yeah. My boy told me this before too, like yeah, tag. They just I think you dope, but I think people just expect you to drop. They used to it, so it's no surprise. It's good, but it's
Right.
like, yeah, we knew he was gonna drop. It's good though, but I figured he was gonna drop anyway.
Even with that, um, I think people are now getting caught up in the rollout, the quote unquote
Yep,
rollout. It's
which
like
is annoying. Like, ugh.
you find out you know it's basically an industry thing. It's like you find out things that happen in the industry or how things happen in the industry. So you kind of you trying to be in the know,
Right.
and you know looking at rollouts. Should nobody be looking at rollouts.
I
Should
think
nobody be?
I think something happened recently, like with Drake, and he retired like a bunch of stripper jerseys. I was like, Drake must got an album coming out, or something must be about to happen big with Drake right now, cause he all this stuff that's going on. It's like, yeah, he got
Yeah,
some new music coming. Is this all this stuff that go on basically be rollout? It's like,
yeah,
and people really be into it, like, but they be into that, but less into the music.
yeah.
I'm like,
And that's
how
yeah,
did this happen? Like, what the?
and that's the disconnect, and that's where everybody's basically jacking up, messing things up. We I said it before. We live in an age where we have too much information out there.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody knows every bit of every operation, and that's how along with music being made too easily, too often,
Yep.
released too quickly and it can be too consistent. It's too consistent.
Yeah, man. I was gonna ask this because we gonna get ready to wrap it up in a minute. I got a couple things that I want to close out with. Um, we was talking about like streaming platforms and everything. Now the great thing I like about the platforms is the playlist. Very easy to make a playlist. It was always more difficult to make playlists when you had to buy music and download it because it's like, dang, I do want to make a playlist out of this. You ain't gonna be able to buy like everybody music, literally. You know what I'm saying? In one time period, like within a month or so. So it's like, yeah, obviously you're gonna go broke probably trying to buy everybody damn music, but um that's a good thing about like the platforms, whatever. I was gonna ask like as far as playlists, like what's on your playlist currently, or like what albums are you currently listening to as of today, like
I
recently?
have, I have. Well, I'm still, cause I'm one of those people that especially being a DJ, I'm all over the place, and I love music
Well,
too
name it.
much to
What you
have.
got?
I love music too much to have one thing that I listen to. I still listen to my whole.
I'm saying like as of recent though. Like
As of
yeah,
recent,
what you rocking with as of late?
man, look, I'm pulling the CD out of my player. I still got this in here. This is
That was in there when we did. Listen,
exactly
we did the From Scratch podcast. What was that, in June or May?
May maybe.
And that same De La Soul CD is in your.
Yeah, this is all the day.
Oh
Almost
yeah,
all of
that's
the
right.
De
You,
La
you said you
Soul.
put a bunch of, so I get it. Then that's
Yeah.
kind of like, so you've been basically, you
So
know,
most of the De La Soul albums are on the CD.
I expected this from you too.
So I
knew it wasn't gonna be nothing else.
I still listen to that. I still listen to Pete Rock. I still I have a produced by Premier playlist.
And this is all what you listen to as of recent, not
Yeah,
okay.
as of recent. I still listen to a lot of classic jazz. Like the most recent album I listened to is this guy named Thad Jones from 1958.
Thad Jones.
Yeah, before that I was listening
It's
to
actually a cool name.
Well, he make dope jazz. Before him, I was listening to Ahmad Jamal heavy. I still listen to 90.9 whenever I get in the car. So, I'm all over the place, and then I'll just turn to see whatever's playing on WJLB or Hot 107.5, and then I still go back to 105.1 The Bounce. I'm all over the place.
I could say that's me. Like, I can't really just listen to one set type of music in one day.
Right, and I will probably
burn
never
out on
have
rap real quick. But me, I've been actually having some sort of fun building playlists off of just like one artist or one collective of artists. Like I did one recently. I did like a G Unit playlist because they at one point they had the game on lock. Period. And I was just taking songs from different artists that was a part of G Unit and putting it together. Like, man, I messed around and had like over 20-something songs. Couldn't grab everything, obviously. I was on Spotify doing this, so some of the mixtapes that I wish would have been on there, it's like, dang, they ain't here. I did a Stevie Wonder list. I think that was dope. I still got to add songs to it, actually. This is all on my Spotify, by the way, y'all. If you go to name tag Alexander, follow my Spotify page. I'm usually adding like a playlist on my page, so you can check it out. Follow the list. Follow me on Spotify if you got Spotify. If you don't, then follow me on Apple, wherever, all them platforms that y'all.
All my playlists, right? All my playlists are on Google Music, so
nobody go to that.
See, hater.
So, but no, I recently did one with Kanye, and I was like, probably one of the better lists that I've enjoyed as of recent, because I was like, man, you really realize like how many joints this dude got. It took me back to like not my childhood, but like my teenage days, because I was like, yo, it was around from like when College Dropout first came out and all the way up until now, and I'm just piecing everything together. I'm like, man, he had some joints. It took me back from when I was like 16, 17 up until as of recent. I just started remembering everything. Like, yo, this remind me of when I was, I was like, obviously music does that, but that's what I've been on right now. Just basically like playlists from different artists. I did an LL Cool J one, so I was kind of bumping that as of recent. Like I said, Kanye, G Unit, LL Cool J, and my R&B playlist got a lot of the current R&B. Found some the old Melanie Fiona joint. What happened to Melanie Fiona, by the way, too?
Never listened.
Yeah, Melanie Fiona, she was fire. And her, H.E.R, some of SZA, a lot of the new R&B that's out just got some good vibes to it or whatever. That's what I've been on lately. I want to try to close out the podcast going forward, since it is LABL, Lead and Be Legendary. I try to like have a quote now that is equating to leadership or just something inspirational or whatever. But this one is a leadership quote by a quote-unquote say it was by John Quincy Adams. It says, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. That's it.
Word.
Episode 21. We'll be back. LABL Music, Twitter, Instagram, Lead and Be Legendary. Man, go to the website, leadandbelegendary.net. We out.
Yeah, raise up all my podcasts.